Masters, I dare say that you right now are not paying attention to the reticular activating system in other people's brains. I also dare say that you should. I know I'm paying attention to the reticular activating system in your brains. How many of you have been in a situation where you're trying to talk to somebody and they need to pay attention to what you're saying, and you realize at some point they're just tuning out. They're not listening anymore. Okay, everybody. That's because their reticular activating system has told them that they don't need to pay attention to what you're saying. They can just daydream or think about something else. Dad or the teacher or the boss is just running on the mouth as usual, nothing critical, don't need to listen. But Dad says allowance, teacher says pop quiz, the boss says layoffs, and all of a sudden your reticular activating system startles you into paying attention. It's suddenly extremely relevant for you to listen. This is what the reticular activating system looks like in your brain. It's this little structure here. And as all the possible sensory data comes into the brain, the reticular activating system tells you what to pay attention to and what can go into the background of your awareness or into your subconscious mind. In other words, it acts like the traffic cop right in your brain. As data comes in, the reticular activating system says, pay attention to this, or let it go, doesn't matter. In this very room, there's a lot of stuff that is possible for you to be aware of right now. The lights, the temperature, that little hum of some machine in the background. But you would feel crazy if you had to pay attention to all of that, so most of that you're not aware of. However, if a clown suddenly dashed into the room, holding a pie, obviously behind his back, you would not only become hyper-aware of the room you're in, you'd become aware of where the exits are. As I said, we would feel pretty crazy if we had to be aware of every possible sensory data that's coming into our brains. I know I have been in foreign cities where I felt this way. My reticular activating system didn't know yet what I could ignore and what I had to pay attention to. And I can tell you by the end of one day, I'm exhausted. After a few days, my reticular activating system has sorted it all out, and I know what I need to pay attention to and what just goes into the background hum of my mind. Another situation where we have learned to tune out a lot of information is in marriage. If you've been married for a long time, there's a lot about your spouse that you are no longer even aware of. Imagine the man at the breakfast table reading the newspaper and his wife is trying to tell him something. Now, he knows his wife likes to talk in the morning and he's learned to tune her out. What his reticular activating system says is important to him at this moment is what's in the news. She finally grabs the newspaper out of his hands and says, "You haven't heard a word I've said." And that would actually be the truth. This brings us to why we need to know about the reticular activating system. If you want to keep and hold someone's attention, you have to do the unexpected. For example, with our husband and wife, she could dress up like a clown and hit him in the face with a pie. That would wake up his reticular activating system. Seriously though, for every situation, there's a different possible solution. If you are a teacher or a corporate trainer like I'm becoming, you could do a group-centered activity. If you're parents of a teen, you could ask an intriguing what-if question while dangling the car keys. If you're a boss, well, you could dress up in a costume, or you could toss a little beanbag or something at your employees in a meeting while asking them a question. Or, in any situation, you can make a startling statement. Oh, that reminds me, the table topics for tonight will be on the reticular activating system, kind of like a pop quiz. Sorry, I should have told you earlier. But now you're paying attention, and that, fellow Toastmasters, is your reticular activating system at work.